guys, I'm Jennifer. Today in my kitchen we are making s'mores blondies. I am super excited. We're gonna make a brown sugar honey graham cracker blondie, chocolate ganache, and we're gonna make homemade marshmallow fluff. Now, I know you think I'm crazy because we're making homemade marshmallow fluff, but I promise it's super easy. It's only a few ingredients and it's so much better than the stuff that you have to scrape out of the jar. It's really, really good, perfect for 4th of July. I think you guys are gonna love it, so let's get started. We're going to start with the base for our s'mores blondie. So first things first, let's make the blondie portion. So for the graham cracker blondie, you'll need 1 stick of unsalted butter, and we're going to melt this. You'll need 1/4 cup of brown sugar and 1/4 cup of white sugar. You'll also need 1/4 cup of honey to really build on that graham cracker flavor. 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 6 graham crackers that have been finely crushed, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and you'll also need 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. You'll also need 1 room temperature egg. So the first thing I did is I melted my butter in the microwave until the butter was completely melted. We want to make sure that we're using unsalted butter for this recipe. Now we'll add in our white sugar and our brown sugar. Next we're going to add in our honey, very slowly. Now we're going to whisk everything together. We want to make sure we're getting a very smooth, homogeneous mixture and that everything is well combined. So this is exactly what we're looking for. The next thing we'll do is add in our room temperature egg. We'll also add our teaspoon of vanilla, and we'll just whisk until everything's evenly combined. Now we're going to prep our dry ingredients. So I added my baking powder and my salt to my flour. We're just going to whisk this together. Now we're bringing our wet mixture back, and I'm going to switch to a spatula because I want to make sure that I don't overbeat this, because this is essentially kind of a soft cookie dough, and if I overmix it, it's going to be tough. So I'm going to add my dry ingredient mixture, flour, baking powder, salt. And then we'll also add our graham crackers. And we're just going to gently mix everything together until it's just combined. You don't see any more streaks of flour or graham cracker crumbs. Now we're all done mixing, and you can see we're left with this sort of soft cookie dough mixture. And now we are ready to prep our pan. So what I've done now is I've prepared my 9x9 baking pan. So what I did, because I'm incredibly lazy and I can't be bothered scraping bars out of the pan, is I lined my 9x9 baking pan with aluminum foil, and then I just buttered it. You could also use cooking spray. So now we're just going to spoon in our cookie dough. And now we're just going to press the cookie dough into an even layer as best as we can. Now that we've pressed our cookie dough into an even layer, we're going to put this in a 350-degree oven until it's golden brown. As our blondies are baking, we're going to start on our choco ganache. So chocolate ganache is ridiculously simple. So I'm using semi-sweet chocolate because I want to try to offset a little bit of the sweetness. Between the blondie and the marshmallow, there's going to be a lot of sugar going on. So to make sure it's not overly sweet, I'm using semi-sweet chocolate chips. You can definitely use milk chocolate to go for more of a classic s'mores vibe, but just be really careful with putting too much because otherwise it could be a little overly sweet. So I warmed up my heavy cream, and really all you're looking for is just little bubbles on the top of the cream, so that way you know that it's hot enough. We don't want to boil it, but we basically want to bring it to a simmer. So I did that in the microwave. You could do it over the top of the stove if you'd like, but I'm going to pour the hot cream over my semi-sweet chocolate. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this with a plate, and we just want to let this sit and steam. So covering it is going to trap all of that heat in with the hot heavy cream, and it'll help those chocolate chips soften a little bit faster. So we're just going to let this sit for a couple minutes, and then I'll mix it all together. It's been steaming for a few minutes, so now we're ready to mix our cream and chocolate together. So we're just going to whisk this until it's nice and creamy and well combined. So now we're left with a nice rich chocolate ganache. So our blondies finished baking, and I ended up baking these for about 16 minutes. So you want to cook for anywhere from 14 to 17 minutes. You're just looking for this light golden brown color. Now we're going to pour on our chocolate ganache. Now we're just going to spread this out to the edge of the bars. We're going to put this in the fridge to chill as we prepare our marshmallow fluff. For our marshmallow frosting recipe, you'll need 2 large room temperature egg whites, half a cup of white granulated sugar, 1/8 of a teaspoon or a pinch of cream of tartar. This will help us stabilize our frosting. And you'll also need half a teaspoon of vanilla extract just to add some flavor to the marshmallow. All right, friends, trust me, this is gonna be really easy, okay? So I have a big mixing bowl and a pot over medium heat. We just wanna bring this to a simmer. We don't want it to be boiling, but we do want there to be little bubbles. We just wanna make sure that we're not scrambling our egg whites right away. So what we're going to do is cook egg whites and sugar and cream of tartar over the stove, over this pot of simmering water. So this is going to serve 2 purposes. The first is we're warming up the egg whites enough to a temperature where it's safe to eat them. We don't have to worry about raw eggs. The second purpose is that we're going to essentially melt the sugar into the egg whites, and that's going to take away any of the graininess, because after we simmer everything together, we're going to whip it up into a really fluffy and shiny frosting. So I'm going to add my egg whites along with my sugar. I'm also going to add my 1/8 of a teaspoon of cream of tartar. And the trick to this is we are not going to stop mixing. So we're going to whisk the entire time, and we don't want to keep the heat too high. So that combination of whisking and not overheating is going to make sure that we cook our egg whites and our sugar without scrambling those eggs. So I'm just going to turn this up just a little bit. And now we're going to cook this until a thermometer reads 160 degrees. And that's the temperature at which these egg whites are no longer raw. All right, now that we've hit 160, these are all ready to go, and this is really the consistency that you're looking for. You can see that our sugar is completely melted, it's light and frothy, and it's already starting to look like marshmallow fluff. Now all we have to do is beat this up until it's thick and shiny. Now I've got my trusty hand mixer here, and we're going to beat this on high speed until our frosting is thick and fluffy and it can hold peaks. All done. Now you can see that we've got pretty firm peaks here. They fall over just a little bit, but they hold their shape. Now we're going to add in our vanilla extract. Now our frosting is all set and we can bring everything together. So I've got my slightly cooled bars. They still have a little bit of time left to go, but we're going to go ahead and put everything together. We're just going to gently put our marshmallow frosting over the top. And now we're going to ever so gently just try to smooth this to the edges. So my ganache tried to get a little bit squirrely on me, but that's okay. We're just going to torch the whole thing. So I've got my trusty blowtorch here. You can also put this in the oven under the broiler. Just be really careful and watch it because it won't take very long. But I bought this little creme brulee torch like 10 years ago, and I use it all the time, so highly recommended. So now we're just gonna go around, and you see how we're pretty immediately getting some color over our marshmallows. So we're just gonna go all the way around the pan. All done. And you can torch these as little or as long as you'd like. Don't worry if it gets a little bit messy. We're gonna cut these. No one's even gonna worry about them. But if I tried to cut into these now, it would be a gooey, delicious mess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chill these overnight and just let everything set up. The marshmallow, the ganache, the cookie, and just make sure that it's really, really easy to cut and take out of the pan. And I'll show you what it looks like once it's chilled overnight and cut into pieces. So this is what our bars look like after they've chilled overnight. I just chilled these in the fridge overnight and then cut them into squares with a really, really sharp knife. Here's a close-up shot of the bar. You can see we've got that chewy graham cracker honey blondie, the chocolate ganache, and then our torched marshmallow on top. All right, guys, we made a mess in the kitchen, and now it's finally time to eat. So let's dig in. Why are things that are so good so messy sometimes? So we've got some really good layers here with the graham cracker, honey blondie, the chocolate ganache, and that torched marshmallow, which just brings a nice balance to everything. There's not really thick layers of ganache and marshmallow, so it's not overly sweet. So it strikes a really good balance, and it's just so good. So I hope you guys enjoy this. This is perfect for 4th of July weekend or just a summertime dessert. Anything s'mores related is perfect. I hope you guys enjoy. All of the recipe, ingredient quantities, instructions, all that good stuff will be on my website, engineskitchen.wordpress.com. Thanks for spending time with me. I'll see you guys next time.